Hi, this is Michael Bailey, and I want to take a few minutes to talk with you about executive coaching, about leadership development. And I want to take a look at through a lens of self-confidence, maturity, development, and all those kinds of things. I'm going to give you several videos that address what is self-confidence in leadership and what's after self-confidence, to give you a better idea. One of the things I want you to be aware of in this particular one is self-awareness. Over the years, I've been quite amazed talking, working with leaders, emerging leaders, leaders who've been in positions of leadership for a period of time, even executives in that C-level, how much I am surprised at their lack of self-awareness. Now, self-awareness is kind of one of those buzzwords, what is your self-awareness? It could be self-awareness, at some point, you're probably, I'm so sick of hearing this self-awareness crap. What is that about anyway? Well, it's just a door opener, really and truly, when you recognize where it fits and how it really fits into leadership development. And we'll go over that today. And there'll be other ones that'll be talking about confidence, et cetera, as a leader. Um, but it's just a door opener. On a good day, on a good day, about 80% of the population is not self-aware, which means on a good day, about 20% of the population is self-aware on a good day. Now, what does that even mean? Well, I'm going to give you an example here. Give you several examples, in fact. When you're working with your coach, notice the questions that they ask you. Oftentimes, they're quite pithy. How do you feel about that? What's your perception on that? What are your thoughts around that? What's your attitude? What are your assumptions? Pretty to the point kinds of questions. Pithy questions really require pithy answers. If you're working with a pretty together CEO, really knows his or her stuff, not only in the industry, but also in terms of people, right? When you talk to them, they want pretty short to the point conversations with you. If they want to know more, they'll ask. But otherwise, you deliver them, here's what it is, here's what it is, here's what it is. And they'll say, okay, got it, got it, got it, move on. And again, if they want to know more, they'll probe. So when you go on with your explanations, for instance, and you're working with your coach, rather than just, here's the pithy question, and you go on with some sort of elaborate story, you kind of explain and explain and explain. That's a very good indicator that you are not self-aware. Instead of answering the question, you give a story. And the reason you give a story is because your brain doesn't know really what to do with the question. So it's looking for answers. It's looking for some sort of connection. It's looking for some sort of association. What does that question even mean? How do I relate to that question? Where do I go with that question? Now you think probably you really are answering the question. You're thinking, I'm doing a fine job as I go on for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes, explaining myself, answering the question. And the answer is you're probably not doing all that great. If you're going on like that, you're not doing a great job. And that tells your coach that you really are out of touch. In other words, you are not as self-aware as you think you are. Yeah. So, yeah. So a lot of people aren't. And I want to take you through some levels here of self-awareness and where self-awareness leads to. Self-awareness, on a good day, maybe 20% of the population, as I said, is self-aware. They actually know what's going on with them at that moment. Rougher days, not so much, right? Self-awareness is just, do you know what you're thinking? Do you know what you're feeling? Do you know what your attitude is about this? Do you know how your body's feeling, reacting? Are you really, connected to yourself? Self-awareness is this first fundamental place of being connected to who you are. Is that important as a leader? Holy cow, it sure is. Now, once you have some sort of self-awareness, the next thing is, okay, so what do you do with that? What do you do with self-awareness? Well, the next level is self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is, okay, you're self-aware, you know how you work. You really understand what motivates you, how you get focused, how you get into a job, how you deal with different kinds of internal crises that you may have. You got a headache or just had an upsetting phone call. You know how you actually work. So it's knowledge, it's intellectual knowledge sometimes. It may not be behavioral knowledge or habit, but it's like, well, I know I should do this, or if I'm upset, to breathe, the kind of stuff that they tell you all the time, that kind of stuff. You're aware of it, and so you know it, but you're really not doing it. So self-awareness, self-knowledge, yeah, I know what I should be doing. I know it's what it's supposed to be, blah, 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 but you're not doing it. The next one is self-management. Self-management. Well, now you're aware. Now you know what to do. Are you doing it? Self-management. Self-manage is a big deal because it's now actually you with your brain engaged. Now you affecting your behavior. You're doing something with your behavior so that you're changing up your behavior. You're managing yourself better so that you're a person that does good time management, or when you go into a meeting, you're prepared, whatever it is, or you have a conversation, difficult conversation, you're pretty well at handling the difficult emotions or the ideas or the confrontation or the anger or whatever it is. You're pretty good at keeping yourself calm and focused and those kinds of things. That's really great. Self-management. Now, the next level above self-management is self-motivation. That's a little different because we can know lots of things about how to manage myself, stay calm, stay relaxed, stay focused, those kind of things. But self-motivation is another level of how do I really work? How do I get into that zone? How do I get into that space, that groove? How do I get, beyond just the superficial stuff, go into deep work, for instance, just deep work, not just kind of get the busy work done, but deep work where you really get things done that are significant, that are meaningful, that are really aligned with the organization, with your team. What you must do even to prepare as a leader before you go into a meeting or before you start working with your team. That deep work of, being motivated to go put in more effort, more energy, more brain power, um, just a deeper level of commitment, conviction about what it is you're doing, that level of self-motivation. Now, what I want you to see, those four levels of self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-motivation, and excuse me, self-management, and then self-motivation, those are all precursors. Those are all necessary things that you got to do as a leader to get to the next two. And the next two are, the first one is social awareness. Social awareness. What does that mean? Social awareness is because you are aware of how you work and you have the knowledge of how to work that, what you do, you're self-aware, self-knowledge, and you're managing yourself and you're also motivating yourself. You put yourself into a space where you're not all caught up in your own drama. You're not all caught up in, this worry or that kind of thing. It doesn't mean there's not things going on, but you're not caught up in it. You're not being stolen. You're not being captivated or captive, taken captive by that sort of thing. So because you're not being captured or distracted or preoccupied and that kind of thing, you're now aware of what other people are doing. You can see what's going on with them. You can take in their opinions, their reports. You can take in their emotions. You can take in their attitude. You can hear what they're saying, and you can also hear what they're not saying. So at a level, what's going on here is that you're free to be available, or what's called be present with other people. Now, if you don't have those first four levels handled, you cannot be present with other people. Maybe sometimes hit and miss, kind of occasionally you can do that. That the power of a leader is to be present wherever and whenever they're engaged with their team or whatever's going on in the business, they're present. They're just available, hearing, observing, knowing what's going on, getting it with as little prejudice, without as little bias as possible, just being able to get it, to know what to do with it, right? So social awareness is that leap from all these previous four: self-awareness, self-knowledge, self-management, self-motivation. It's the leap that moves you into a leadership position of awareness, of working with other people. If you don't have that social awareness, that's where people go, I don't feel like my boss listens to me. I don't think he's really aware of what I'm saying, is not understanding, or she's not understanding, or whatever it is. There's a lack that their team feels of real connection, not just understanding, real connection about what's going on. Well, why is that important? Because if you don't have that real connection, you're not going to have real loyalty. You're not going to have real buy-in from your team, whether it's buy-in about getting the work done or buy-in from just we are a team, we got each other's back. It's not going to have the buy-in. If you don't have that kind of buy-in, it's hard to get a high level of quality work, high level of quality cooperation, synergy, and innovations. That's just hard to do because they're not feeling it from you. So you're blocking it from them. That ability, once you've got that, so you can actually be there, connect with other people, be present, they feel it. It's not just like I had a good conversation, but whenever I talk to Joe or talk to Sally or whoever, I really do feel like they're listening, that they're really paying attention, that they really care, that you know, we got something going on here that's really good for our team, for our company. That's a whole other level. Now, the next level, this sixth level, you take a look at, and that is leadership development. Leadership development is a whole other deal than all these other ones. All these other levels bring it to where you can now have leadership development, the self-awareness, self-knowledge, the self-management, the self-motivation, the social awareness that you can now connect and also now move in a position to influence other people. One of the great things about people, leaders that are really great at leadership is that not only they have all these other things going on, being able to connect with people, really listen, pay attention, all that kind of stuff, is their ability to network with other people, make connections. They make connections because they want to have these people as resources. They want to be a resource to other people. They want these resources so as they get into different projects, different kinds of work that they do. They may go from one company to another company, but they keep those network lines open so they can connect, talk to them. I've got something going on here. Like to talk to you about it. I think your group would be very interested and excited about working with us and what we're doing here. It's the connection. It's the connection that they're looking for. Why do they want the connection? I'm going to wrap this up here in just a couple of minutes. The first 5 levels that I've talked about here are all about confidence. People want more confidence, confidence in who they are, what they do, how they manage themselves, how they work with themselves, how they motivate themselves, how they can work with other people. It's a confidence issue. These are all confidence issues. Once you hit that 6th level of leadership, what you're looking for is you've got the confidence now. Doesn't mean you're not always honing it, improving it, getting it better, refining it. Doesn't mean that you are involved in that. But the next level is really leverage. How do you work with other people to leverage, to bring what it is that you have, what others have, to bring the resources necessary, the time, the energy, the commitment to make things happen? It's the leverage aspect of a great leadership that really makes things happen, that really brings about great stuff, that takes businesses, takes teams, takes organizations to these new levels of possibilities and actuality. That's what that's all about. That ability to leverage, not in a take it way kind of, it's all for me and you don't get anything. But leverage is really about win-win. It goes right back to win-win, leveraging you win, I win, we win. That's what it's all about. So that's that whole thing about self-awareness and leadership. And take a look at that. Give that some thought. Where are you in that whole thing? As you work with your coach and your coach asks you questions, learn how to answer the question honestly and in a pithy way, not long stories, not going on and on and on. And it doesn't mean that you don't have more to tell. If your coach sees there's something there, or if you want to elaborate, you might say, let me just open that up. Or they'll say, would you like to delve into that more? But the fact that you can give a pithy answer is a great indicator, and pithy and honest. Let's put that in there too. Honest, truthful, pithy, honest, truthful. That's a demonstration of your self-awareness and your ability to know who you are and how you work and how you manage yourself and how to motivate yourself and connect with others. Those are all good indicators. So the long story, not so much the pithy answer, quick, honest, to the point. That's what you want. All the best.